Welcome to episode number 275 of the Marine Layer podcast. I think you guys know what we're about to talk about right now. We're about to get into it.
I'll do this quick. Your reminder, make sure you're downloading these podcast episodes. If you're listening, rate and review 5 stars, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Find all of our stuff at marinelayerpod.com, our website, merch, Patreon, live show schedule, all of it. Again, that's marinelayerpod.com. All our website where it's the whole 9 yards, and then you can check us out on social media everywhere at Marine Layer Pod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network, recording on Wednesday evening, July 30th. A happy evening because Gino is back. He's back.
Woo! Let's go! Let's go, dude! Let's fucking go!
That's called winning a deadline right there. That right there is winning a trade deadline, is going out and getting that man right there, the number one trade target on the entire market. I think people had their doubts earlier today, Lyle. I really do think after those relievers were flying off the market earlier today, there were people like, they're not going to trade for anybody. I mean, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't any doubt creeping into my mind where it's like, all right, Duran goes off the board. What's going to happen now? Are the Mariners going to be able to pivot? What's their pivot going to look like? Is it going to be another Caleb Ferguson? No, man, these guys went right to the top of the ladder and they snatched Gino away for a package of guys that honestly won't affect you at all in the future. I mean, it's incredible that they got this done for what we were seeing today. And what at first it was like Tyler Locklear and 2 unnamed pitchers. And we're like, 2 unnamed pitchers. I don't know what that is. And then you see that as Hunter Cranton and Juan Burgos, and it's like, for the guy with 36 home runs. That one?
I couldn't believe it. I'm just gonna be frank. I couldn't believe it. Also, I am getting a laugh right now at you trying to say how I think there were people that were worried that nothing was gonna happen, and I think people were starting to get antsy. You're saying people as if you're not using people as a general term to try and cover up that this was the two of us all day, just texting back and forth.
I threw it in there at the end.
Well, at the end, but you're like, I think you're using people as like a masking tool to say, like, you're using people as a masking tool to just try to divert from saying, you and I were getting nervous, worried, angry all day. It's like, are they going to do anything else? And then this happens.
I had assumed, based on all the language today, is that I thought that the Mariners' number one priority today was Yohan Duran. I thought that was their number one priority today. All the reporting was that. All of the messaging was that is what they were targeting today. They were going to go get a reliever. They already targeted a bat. So the next best thing they thought they needed to go get, given the asking price on Gino, was to go out there and get a reliever. And then when you see not 1, but 2 go off the board within 30 minutes, neither of them go to the Mariners, and I'm sitting there like, oh, no, they don't like the Mariners prospects. What are the Mariners going to be able to get a reliever? If these teams don't like the Mariners prospects for relievers, are they going to want them for Gino? And Gino's going to be the most expensive. The Mariners are only going to have Josh Naylor and Caleb Ferguson at the deadline. What's going to happen? What are we going to talk about on Friday? I got to
be honest. I think I'm more for the people and for the fans and for our listeners than you. You're really covering up what this afternoon looked like. Your words were not, oh no, what happened to their prospects? What are they going to do? No, let me be a good podcast host here and bring the people in and fill everybody in on what was happening this afternoon. When Yohan Duran got
what we were texting about? I can pull them up.
When Yohan Duran got traded, TJ and I were sending each other back and forth the Joker video of of Joaquin Phoenix dancing in the bathroom. That's what happened after Duran got traded. So talk about a turnaround of about 5 hours to go from sending Joker videos to now we're sitting here sounding like this after Gino gets traded back to the M's.
I said unacceptable, easily could have beaten that. Jerry, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, all in caps. All caps. Wake up. Am I allowed to read what you wrote, or am I only reading mine?
Hang on. Let's do a little check here just to make sure. Well, I'm just scrolling through. We text a lot throughout the day. I'm sending Frank the Tank videos of him screaming and freaking out. What else have we got? I'm just scrolling up through it. Yeah.
So I will say, in response, do you know what this was in response to? And I will give ourselves some credit for the response to this, because I do think the response was warranted when Daniel Kramer reported after the Duran trade, said the Mariners announced their acquisition of left-handed reliever Caleb Ferguson in exchange for Jeter Martinez. They talked about Colin Snyder. There was another tweet here where it was the Mariners would be accepting of Josh Naylor being their biggest move at the deadline. In which Lyle and I look at ourselves and we're like, that's unacceptable. That is not allowed to be the case.
So now I'm scrolling through and getting back to some of the texts that you're probably referring to. So just to fill in a couple more before we get back to Gino. I texted you 5 times, unserious. I sent a couple F-bombs with long U's and C's in all capital letters. I said today's going to be the day I have an aneurysm in all capital letters. I mean, I'm telling you, like, the turnaround of 5 hours here. The trade deadline does... the trade deadline brings out the best and the worst in people and in fans, and we're right in that. So here we are at the end of the night, happy and fired up.
Again, I was thinking the pivot was going to be pivoting to a different, worse reliever than the relievers that were available. I honestly thought at some point they'd already ruled out Gino. They said they were serious about it, but then just there were some inklings that made me feel like the price was just too high. The Diamondbacks were going to be okay hanging on to him and getting a comp pick for him. And I was like, all right, shit. Well, then you go try and get Willie Castro. You try and get Griffin Jacks. And I was worried they weren't going to go and pay that price. But apparently, looking at this price, Lyle, Gino was definitely available. He was 100% available. No doubt. Are you kidding me? All respect to the players traded in this package. Every other team that was in on Gino could have sent this package to the Diamondbacks. The Mariners, though, are the ones who got it done, and that's who gets the credit for all of this. Jerry DiPoto, Justin Hollander, that entire front office, we've been putting the stress on them for this deadline and what they needed to do to go out and acquire the right pieces for this team to go try and make the playoffs and go get the best bats available. They didn't just get the best bat. They got the best 2 bats at this deadline. Mm-hmm. And look, we still got less than 24 hours in this deadline available, and they still have every big trade piece possible to go out on Thursday and trade for a big-time reliever. They could get an A+++++ at this deadline.
I mean, I think it's fair to say, if the deadline ends right here, right now, and this is their deadline, it's an A. This is an A deadline.
Easily.
Yeah. But if they were to go...
This is an all-in deadline. Jerry backed up his words. Mm-hmm. He said, we're going all in this deadline. And he backed it up. Thankfully.
Yes, he did.
I'm glad we don't have to... We were talking about it on Wednesday's episode. We said, you can't say that and not go through with it. And he went through with it. Credit to you, Jerry. So much credit for you guys in this front office getting this done.
Yep. All of it. Jerry, Justin, everybody. Everybody involved. Huge, huge win by every sense of the word. They very clearly sat down, said, we are not messing around at this deadline, and we're going to get this stuff done. They got it done. This is sick. You go from, in about a week's time, having Donovan Solano, and all due respect to him, is a great defender, and he can still have a role on this team, Ben Williamson at third base offensively, to 2 serious thumpers in the middle of your order, one of which is having one of the best seasons in Major League Baseball in Gino.
36
like in a week's
home
time.
runs.
Like, think about that. Let's just pull up the numbers. So Donovan Solano, I'll just use OPS for everybody just to keep it simple. Donovan Solano,
while you pull that up, Lyle, can I just explain to people, you now have a hitter with 41 home runs in the lineup, and you're going to have a hitter probably hitting right after him who has 36. Dude, that's like Big Papi and Manny Ramirez of the 04 Red Sox.
Yeah. So let me read the numbers. Donovan Solano has an 83 OPS plus on the year. Or sorry, I said I'd use OPS. Donovan Solano is a 626 OPS on the year. Ben Williamson has a 604 OPS on the year. Josh Naylor for the season has an 802 OPS. So at first base, you go from a 626 OPS to an 802 OPS. And at third base, you go from a 604 OPS in Ben Williamson to a 900 OPS in Gino Suarez. A 300-point OPS upgrade at third base. That is winning a deadline.
Yeah.
I mean, so like now if you want to try to have some fun with the order, you would assume here it's going to go JP, Julio, Cal. You want to mix up the righties and lefties. Gino, Naylor, Randy at 6, Polo at 7. You would have Cole Young at 9 playing second base, and the 8th spot, I'm missing somebody.
Canzone or whoever's playing right.
Or Raleigh. Canzone or Raleigh.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a lineup in the American League, even with a healthy Aaron Judge, where you look at them, and I'm not saying like end all be all, the Mariners are the best team in the American League. Now, that's not what I'm saying. But is there now a team where you look up and down their lineup and say, yeah, the Mariners are outmatched, seriously outmatched? I don't know if there is one.
No.
Not with
that lineup.
Not with all the Astros injuries, not with the way that the Yankees are structured and like what their lineup looks like when you get past Judge, not with even the Tigers, again, who have had a really good year. It's just not that type of lineup. It's like, this is it, man. Like the Mariners lineup, like you can now argue is the best in the American League.
And you managed to get this lineup, Lyle. We love our guy BG, but you got... Well, let's focus on this trade. No, let's not focus on the Naylor trade. Think about what you had to give up to get Gino. I mentioned this to you before we started recording. The difference in talent going both ways for when you traded Gino away and then traded back for him, it's not that different.
The Diamondbacks did get more, but it's not substantial. Yeah.
It's not some astronomical price more. Yeah, definitely. Like Tyler Locklear is better than both the players the Mariners acquired for Gino when they traded him away. But it's not like the Diamondbacks are making out like bandits like they got Ryan Sloan for Eugenio Suarez after the Mariners got Sebi fucking Zavala for him instead. No, it's like it's not that. It's not some astronomical difference. And that's maybe the most incredible part about that. I had to do a double take when I'm reading this package of what they had to send to him. Technically, as we explained on the Monday episode on what the price was, it was a big leaguer, it was a high minors prospect, and it was a low minors prospect. That's what they gave up. Tyler Locklear was a big leaguer. Lyle, he was on the big league roster on Wednesday. Juan Burgos, high minors. Hunter Cranton, low minors.
Yeah, and Hunter Cranton, again, should be a fast riser through the minors. He spent most of this year injured, so I think that's why he's still in high A, but he'll move pretty fast. Anyway, point being, that's beside the point. Yes, like, if that's what it costs, which clearly the Mariners put to action what we've been saying, if that's the cost, you do that without thought. And clearly they did it.
Man. And then listen to this quote from Cal Raleigh after the game. By the way, who cares about the game? No one cares about the game. Mariners won today, whether or not the score reflects that.
No, they lost.
It doesn't matter. They won, no matter what. Because they got this trade done.
You're saying they won the day. I'm saying, no, they did lose the game. Now, I'm glad they got this trade done. Otherwise, we might be sitting here talking about how they lost 2-3 to the A's and didn't win the Angels series. Anyway, let's just put that behind us and keep talking about Gino.
Listen to this quote from Cal. Who he's asked after the game about this trade. It's like, this is what me and the front office talked about in spring training when I was looking to sign here long term. These right here are the things we talk about, these moments. And it makes you feel good about those guys following through on this action. Think it wasn't even 2 years ago that Cal Raleigh threw his front office and ownership under the bus saying, we don't invest enough. We're not serious. Publicly. After the end of his frustrating season. In his second year in baseball. He said that. And to think of how his tone has changed in that and believed enough in this front office to sign this extension, believed enough in this organization to ink himself here a long time, and they followed through for him at the deadline. He signed that extension after an offseason that everyone would call a joke, that they didn't do enough. But ultimately, Lyle, it leaves them right here in playoff position with massive upgrades and a roster that, if the pitching staff and the starting rotation turns around, looks about as good as any team in the American League.
Mm-hmm. We should probably dive into that for a minute in terms of that Cal quote and where it comes from. Because for those who didn't read Jeff Passan's article on Cal Raleigh the day he went and won the home run derby, which you should absolutely go read, by the way. Passan killed that article. It was awesome. And there was a bunch of context in there that wasn't told before. It was new. It was really, really detailed into who Cal Raleigh is and what makes him like such a great Mariner. And there's so many things that go into that article, but the part I'm going to sit here and reference is to what Cal's referencing in that quote when he said, "This is what me and the front office talked about." One day in spring training, Cal Raleigh, in full uniform, walked upstairs to one of the offices at the Peoria Sports Complex, and in full uniform, sat down with Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander, maybe some other front office people too, but at the very least the two of them, for 3 hours. Well, it was either 2 hours or 3 hours, but for 2 to 3 hours, he sat there with those guys and hammered a bunch of stuff out. He had a million questions. He wanted a bunch of answers. He wanted to know what the future of the franchise was going to be because it all geared toward him signing an extension. Cal said, if I'm going to sign here and I'm going to commit the majority of my career to this city and this organization, I need to know that everybody's as serious as I am. So Cal asked, like, what are the prospects like? What is the true upside? If I get extended, are there going to be other moves made around me? Are there going to be serious upgrades made at trade deadlines? Are there going to be other acquisitions and other signs that say, it's not just me that's all in, this organization is all in? He clearly got a vote of confidence from Jerry and Justin, enough so to sign that extension. And to the point of that quote tonight of Cal circling back to what he talked about in spring training, he said, it is nice to see the front office live up to their word. They did that. This deadline, by adding Gino and adding Naylor, and you throw Caleb Ferguson into that too, who we haven't even talked about, but is actually a very strong reliever. He's not Griffin Jacks, he's not Joan Duran, but he is a very good reliever. To do all that at this deadline signals that Jerry and Justin are living up to their word, that the organization is living up to their word.
And everything they sold him probably in that meeting about the future, about the ammo they have to upgrade on their visions at the deadline and what they're looking out for and what they plan for. I mean, they could come through on all of it right now. So as of this point, Lyle, they look at a roster that Cal Raleigh says, all right, if we need to upgrade, who could you go target? Maybe they did float out Gino in that meeting, Lyle, and they said, look, Gino's a free agent at the end of the season. He could be a trade deadline target. We signed Jorge Polanco to play third, but we don't know he's going to make it through the entire season at third base. He's never played third base. That could always be an option for us. And they lay out some other things in this. And it's like, all right, Cal's like, all right, I see this vision. But it's like, also, Cal, throughout your time here, through the 6 years you're going to be on this contract with us, we're going to have a substantial amount of homegrown talent we're expecting to supplement you with. They didn't have to trade any of that so far. Any of those 7, 8, 9, whatever publication you look at, top 100 prospects that the Mariners have right now, they didn't have to trade a single one of them. Cal Raleigh and Kate Anderson, in a best-case scenario, could be playing together on the same team either next year or the year after. Or Ryan Sloan.
And Colt Emerson may be joining them.
And Colt Emerson. And Felnine maybe someday. Or, it could even be Harry Ford. Well, who knows?
Felnine's a long way away, but yes, to the general point, yes.
I mean, if they don't trade Felnine, it would be a disappointment for him if he didn't make the big leagues in Cal's contract.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm not saying he's just got a bunch of stuff to, I think, work on. Like, he hasn't hit for a ton of power this year. Anyway, like, this is a side topic. But
right.
Yes, you're absolutely right that there is serious reinforcements on the way in the farm to help Cal, and there are now reinforcements right now to help Cal. How many times have we hammered it home, and other people have talked about it while we're on the topic of Cal Raleigh? You cannot waste this season. Cal Raleigh may go on to be a Hall of Famer. He might. We don't know how his career is going to go. He could. That doesn't mean he's ever going to have a season like this again. He could have 10 more elite seasons, but he may never have another like this because he's on track to break the American League all-time home run record. So to have him doing that, you have to go capitalize on this season. You have to go get pieces around him. They did.
And they did it for the combined package of Brandon Garcia, Ashton Izzy, Tyler Locklear, Hunter Cranton and Juan Burgos.
Yeah.
For the two best bats on the market.
Yeah. Love you, BG. We'll miss you. We wished you were here, obviously. But to make those moves, like, this is a team that is going all in.
For the Seattle Mariners to go acquire the two best bats on the market it's something. I remember Jack C, Lyle. I remember Jack C clearly. Jack C could not build up the farm system to go out and make this kind of trade happen. Could not do it. I remember 2014. You remember the 2014 deadline?
Yeah, when they got Chris DeNorfia and they got
Austin Jackson.
Uh-huh.
That offense sucked. They were awful. And I was sitting on a plane, I remember, just hoping they could go out there and they could acquire someone. And you could imagine my unenthusiasm when they acquired Austin Jackson and Chris DeNorfia. And you'd be shocked to believe the offense did not get any better and they missed the playoffs. Wasting a historic pitching season.
And dude, Robbie must have been sitting there in year one being like, what the fuck did I sign up for?
But now the Mariners have a better offense, still felt like they needed an offensive upgrade and went to get the two best bats on the market to upgrade their lineup. How jealous some of these other teams in baseball must be, ones that need bats and would love two bats. And the Mariners took both of them.
Uh-huh. I mean,
crazy.
Again, this lineup now, when you look up and down it, it is seriously deep. When your 7-hitters, Jorge Polanco, who, by the way, due to the awesome July he's had, has turned his year around in a total 180, and now his offensive numbers look seriously, maybe imposing's not the right word, but beyond respectable. Let's put it like that. He has had an awesome July and really turned things around. That's your 7-hitter. You have Dom Canzone hitting 8, who's been red hot since getting called up. Or then you have Cole Young hitting in the 9 spot, who we've seen plenty of progress from in the last month and a half or so. Like, this,
and then
this is real.
And then your bench is probably Ben Williamson, Miles Mastroboni, Luke Raley, and Mitch Garver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Demo and Solano are probably off the roster.
Yeah. So either Mastro will come back or they choose to call Leo Rivas up. But again, it'd be one of the two of them.
Yeah. So that's your roster. That's what you're rolling the next 2 months of the season, barring health with. Feeling pretty good about this. Yeah. I feel a lot better than I felt at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'm going to be totally honest.
I am now legitimately fired up to be watching Mariners baseball. And look, we love the Mariners and we're diehard baseball fans. And of course we sit and watch every night. But we're like a lot of you guys who I'm sure are sitting and listening, right? Like, there's been a lot of this year that, there are points where it's really hard because there's so much up and down and they can't seem to find much of an identity up to this point. And, there's been points where the offense has been really frustrating. There's been points where the bullpen's made you want to pull your hair out. Obviously, with the injuries to Logan and Kirby and Bryce, the rotation's been in a mix all year. So there's been hard times of this season, especially when you've missed the playoffs 2 years in a row after making it in 22. But now you sit here with this roster. How could you not be fired up for the next 2 months of what Mariners baseball could represent? Which, even numbers aside, to see Gino back at T-Mobile Park and he's going to have the huge smile on his face and he's going to be screaming as he runs up the stairs of the dugout and he's going to yell, "Stop it!" That's what he does.
This ovation he's going to get tomorrow is going to be insane.
Or this weekend, too, when there's even more fans there. Yeah. That's a thing. Is before Gino got traded, he would always, when he was at the park, Scott Service would be doing his media session, and usually around that time is when a lot of the position players start to make their way onto the field. And it was almost every day, Gino, while Service was talking, would scare the death out of everybody sitting around listening to Service talk because he'd run up those stairs to the dugout and he would just scream. He'd be like, "Stop it!" But in a very high-pitched voice, top of his lungs, because that's what Perry Hill always says. He says, "Stop it." That's his thing. So you're going to have that. How about this, by the way? Here's a human element of this, too, and just a fun aspect of this Mariners roster. I know the latter guy I'm about to mention here isn't back yet, but can that clubhouse contain the combined energy of Victor Robles and Eugenio Suarez?
Probably. Because Gino's the leadership type to keep everyone in check, and Cal.
Yeah. But I don't know. Him and Robles just combined have so much insane energy.
But Robles is like the outward energy. I feel like Gino's a little bit more of like controlled, just vibey energy.
That could be.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that could be.
I'd say the last thing I have to say here. The front office has done their job. There's no excuse not making the playoffs now.
Mm-hmm. You got to go do it.
Yeah. That is the expectation right now. Anything else is thumbs down.
Of course. And you know what? A roster like this says they should probably do more than just get into a wild card and get bounced.
Right.
They should make they should have a real chance to make a serious run through the American League.
And also tomorrow, so this episode's coming out on Thursday. You guys will have, given how much, so this episode will have 12 hours between release and deadline. I believe exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 12 hours exactly. I think the Mariners should still go out and get a reliever tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they need another bullpen arm. I would love a leverage bullpen arm, because I do still think, even if you add Gino and your offense goes from 12th to 7th in baseball in runs scored because of this acquisition, I still do think this team needs to go out and they need to get a bullpen arm to help this unit, because the concerns of that don't just go away because you have Gino.
Definitely. And again, if you go get a solid bullpen arm, that's still good. But if you go out tomorrow on Thursday and you get Griffin Jacks, or you go get Pete Fairbanks, my God, man, that would be the best deadline they've ever had. Because even in 22, when they got Luis Castillo, there were some people still frustrated that even with the Castillo trade, they didn't do enough around it, because the rest of that deadline was Jake Bauers, Kirk Casale, and Matt Boyd, which, shout out Matt Boyd, like Seattle legend, and that interview he did after they broke the drought was unreal. It was amazing. But objectively, like, Matt Boyd then wasn't the Matt Boyd that just made the All-Star game. They didn't do enough around Castillo at that deadline. They've already done enough. Again, if it ends right here, right now, they get an A. They go get Griffin Jacks or Pete Fairbanks tomorrow, they get an A+++++. And if they go get Kyle Finnegan tomorrow or Jake Bird tomorrow, that's still an A+, because it's still another reliever that you can lean on. It might not be a Griffin Jacks type, but it's still another reliever you can lean on and has some upside. I almost think of the Liam Neeson line from A-Team, if anybody's seen that movie. He said in that movie, he goes, "You give me a minute, I'm good. You give me an hour, I'm great. You give me 6 months, I'm unbeatable." So it's like, you give me Naylor, I'm good. You give me Gino, I'm great. You give me Griffin Jacks, I'm unbeatable.
Yeah. Yes. God, what was I going to... Oh, to all you guys listening, we are planning to do a deadline mailbag to come out on Monday. So any questions you guys have, since most likely the biggest acquisitions have already been in the bag, if you want to go ahead and send those questions to us, you can respond. You can send us a DM, send us an email. We'll start gathering those today on Thursday and record that on Thursday to get it out on Monday. So get ahead on that.
Yeah, we owe you guys mailbags. So that's why next week we're doing 2. We're going to do a deadline mailbag on Monday, where, like TJ just said, we're going to take all your questions about the deadline. And then next Friday's episode, it'll just be a normal mailbag where you guys can send us whatever you want. But because they traded for Naylor, because they traded for Gino, because the deadline's going to wrap up, we haven't had time to do any mailbags. So we owe you guys, and we're going to get back to a few of them. But yes, as we wrap this up, I would tell every single person listening to get fired up. This is what it felt like when they traded for Luis Castillo in 2022, and that team went and made the playoffs. This team has every reason and every ounce of ability to go make the playoffs, and they should. That's the expectation at bare minimum. So to have Gino back, to have Naylor here, to have Caleb Ferguson here, who, again, I know we kind of barely talked about, but probably deserves a little more recognition, and we can talk more about him on the Friday episode. Get fired up, because they've got a chance to make a real run now.
Pretty exciting.
Yes. All right, that just about wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. If you want to listen to the full form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Make sure to download. Please rate and review 5 stars. How could you not be in the mood to drop a 5-star review after this episode? You are. Come on. And you guys know you're helping us out if you do it, so go do that. Like, comment, and please go subscribe on YouTube. That's the best way you can support the channel, is just click and subscribe on YouTube. It helps us out a ton. You can go over to our website where all our episodes are as well. You can find them there. You can find all our stuff over there. It's the full 9 yards between our live show schedules, our Patreon. Remember, you get to listen ad-free if you're a Patreon member. You get priority on mailbag questions if you're a Patreon member. And we've got all our merch over there. Come on, you guys. Like, you want to go support the Mariners and support us? Like, go get some merch. Gino's here. What better time than to go order some Marine Layer Pod merch to say I'm fired up about the Mariners? We are. We'll be wearing our stuff around the ballpark and around the city all summer, all fall. So go do the same. We've got a bunch of stuff over there. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts. We'd love to have you get involved and get some merch and see it around the park. It's awesome. Again, all that's over at marinelayerpod.com, and you can check us out across social media at Marine Layer Pod. That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.